Want to learn more about Stephen Sondheim? This video explores 9 of his most important shows, from West Side Story to Into the Woods, so you can decide where to start. 1957's West Side Story was Sondheim's first produced musical, and he was the lyricist to Leonard Bernstein's music. Based on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, West Side Story follows Maria, a Puerto Rican immigrant to Manhattan's Upper West Side, and Tony, a white ethnic American. Attached to rival gangs, the Jets and the Sharks, the lovers fight bigotry and hatred as they struggle to find a place for us. After a lengthy prologue with just music and dance, we hear the Jet song, which introduces us to Tony's gang.
When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last 9 days. When you're a jet, if the spin hits the fan, you've got brothers around. You're a family man. You're never alone. You're never disconnected. At home with your own. When company's expected, you're well protected.
Early in the show, Tony's I Want song expresses his sense that something is about to happen, even if he doesn't know what.
Could it be? Yes, it could. Something's coming, something good. If I can wait, something's coming. I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great. With the click, with the shock, phone will jingle, door will knock, open the latch. Something's coming, don't know when, but it's soon. Catch the moon, one-handed catch.
After meeting Maria at a dance at a gym, Tony shouts the name of his newfound crush all through the neighborhood. Maria, he sings. Say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying. After a rumble in which Tony's best friend and Maria's brother are killed, their pairing becomes even more dangerous, and they perform a dance expressing their desire to find somewhere they can be accepted. Despite its serious themes, West Side Story has lighter moments, in which Sondheim shows off his lyrical virtuosity.
I like the island Manhattan. I know you do. Smoke on your pipe and put that in.
Dear, kindly judge your honor. My parents treat me rough with all the marijuana. They won't give me a puff. They didn't want to have me, but somehow I was had. Leaping lizards, that's why I'm so bad.
Please like and subscribe. For Sondheim's next musical, 1959's Gypsy, he again wrote only the lyrics, this time to Julie Stein's music. Though Gypsy's title refers to famous stripper Gypsy Rose Lee, the focus of the show is her mother, Madame Rose. One of the plum roles for older female Broadway stars, Madame Rose is vulgar, brassy, pushy, and single-mindedly devoted to making her children stars. June, the blonde, is the center of the act, which barely changes as she and her sister Louise, the brunette, grow older. Eventually, June gets sick of the act and leaves to create her own. Madame Rose is crushed, but appears to rebound by arguing that Louise can be the star.
The old actor's getting stale and tired, but just look at the new one. She's gonna be beautiful. She is beautiful. Finished. Just beginning. He'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate. Starting here, starting now. Honey, everything's coming up roses.
Instead of vaudeville, Louise is accidentally booked at a burlesque house. Sondheim gets to show off his way with words in the number You Gotta Have a Gimmick, in which aging strippers give Louise advice.
If you wanna make
If you wanna bump it with a trumpet. Get yourself a gimmick and you too. Hand me
Louise goes on stage as a very tentative stripper.
Let me entertain. Let me dance. Sing out, Louise, sing out. Let me do a few tricks, some old and then some new tricks. I'm very versatile.
After Louise gains confidence and popularity, she pushes her mother out. The show ends with one of the finest 11 o'clock numbers in the Broadway canon, Rose's Turn. Now rejected by both her daughters, it becomes clear what Rose always wanted was to be a star herself.
Someone tell me, when is it my turn? Don't I get a dream for myself? Starting now, it's gonna be my turn. Gangway world, get off of my runway. Starting now, I bet 1,000. This time, boys, I'm taking the 1,000. Everything's coming up rose. Everything's coming up roses. Everything's coming up roses. This time for me. 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 For me.
With his next Broadway show, 1962's A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, Sondheim finally got to write both his own music and lyrics. Here's the opening to this madcap show.
Something familiar, something peculiar, something for everyone, a comedy tonight. Something appealing, something appalling, something for everyone, a comedy tonight. Nothing with kings, nothing with crowns. Bring on the lovers, liars, and clowns. Old situations, new complications. Nothing portentous or polite. Tragedy tomorrow, comedy tonight.
The characters are based on Roman stock dramatic types, such as Senex, the old man, and Miles Gloriosus, the brash military conqueror. The farcical plot is hilariously complex, and I'll only be able to touch on the highlights here. Hero is the show's, hero, a young man who has fallen for Philia, a beautiful courtesan in training.
Love, they say, makes you pine away, but you pine away with an idiotic grin. I pine, I blush, I squeak, I squawk. Today I walk, too weak to walk. What's love I hear, I feel, I fear, I'm in.
The show's main character is Pseudolus, Hero's slave who longs for freedom. He makes a deal with his master for his emancipation if he's able to bring him together with Philia.
It's a little word, but oh, the difference it makes. It's the necessary essence of democracy. It's the thing that every slave should have the right to be. And I soon will have the right to buy a slave for me. Can you see him? Well, I'll free him.
Pseudolus discovers that Philia has been sold to Miles Gloriosus, but she and Hero nonetheless declare their mutual love.
You're lovely, absolutely lovely. Who'd believe the loveliness of you? Winsome, sweet and warm and winsome, radiant as in some dream come true.
Because of a mix-up, Hero's father has become a romantic rival for Philia's affection.
Often wants a father, she may want mine. It's possible he's a handsome lad of 20 is just impossible.
Miles Gloriosus returned to claim Philia.
My bride, for my love and pride, my love for her is no longer be denied. Convey the news, I have no time to lose. There are temples to plunder, temples to burn, and women to abuse.
After a series of coincidences, misunderstandings, and gags, Philia and Miles Gloriosus are revealed to be brother and sister, and the show concludes with all loose ends tied.
Divided, can coincide in something for everyone. A company tonight. Father and mother get one another.
Something for everyone.
Company tonight. I get the twins. They get the best. I get a family. I get a rest. We get a few girls. I'll get some new girls. I get the thing I want to be. Free, 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 free. Nothing for kings, nothing for crowns, something for lovers, liars, and clowns. What is the moral? Must be a moral. Here is the moral of the rhyme. Morals tomorrow. Comedy, 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 comedy. Tonight.
Sondheim's next major show was 1970's Company, considered an early concept musical since it didn't have much of a plot but instead focuses on a set of ideas. Bobby is a Manhattan resident celebrating his 35th birthday. The question he discusses with 5 couples he's friends with and 3 women he's dating is whether he should be married at this time. Bobby asks his male friends whether they're sorry they got married. With his trademark love of ambivalence, Sondheim's Sorry Grateful declares that the answer is yes and no.
You're sorry, grateful, regretful, happy. Why look for answers when none occur? You always are what you always were, which has nothing to do with, all to do with her.
In Another 100 People, Bobby's girlfriend Marta uses Manhattan as a metaphor for life and the world Bobby faces.
It's a city of strangers. Some come to work and some to play. A city of strangers. Some come to stare, some to stay. And every day, the ones who stay can find each other in the crowded streets and the guarded parks. By the rusty fountains and the dusty trees with the battered marks. And they walk together past the postered walls with the crude remarks.
One of the most delightful numbers is the patter song, Getting Married Today, in which Bobby's friend Amy expresses her fear of getting married, urging the guests at her wedding to go home.
Listen, everybody, look, I don't know if you're ready for a wedding. Once a wedding is a prehistoric ritual for everybody promised fidelity forever. Which means it was horrifying more than I ever heard. Words followed by a honeymoon where suddenly I realized it's not what I'm not wanting to do. Traditions and those things so much, but I'm not getting married. Go have lunch because I'm not getting married. You've been grand, but I'm not getting married. Don't just stand there, I'm not getting married. And don't tell Paul, but I'm not getting married today.
Another fun number is Barcelona, in which one of Bobby's girlfriends, a flight attendant, wakes up next to him and insists that she can't stay because she's flying to Barcelona. Bobby asks her to stay, but has regrets when she says yes.
Where you going?
Barcelona.
So you said,
And Madrid.
bon voyage.
On I'm going.
Good night.
I'm leaving.
No.
I have to.
Right.
Important to.
Go.
That's not to say that if I had my way, oh well, I guess. Okay. I'll stay.
But
penultimate number, Bobby's older friend Joanne offers a bitter toast to women of leisure and their lifestyles. In doing so, Sondheim was, in a way, criticizing his own fans.
Here's to the ladies who lunch. Everybody laugh. Lounging in their caftans and planning a brunch on their own behalf. Off to the gym, then to a fitting, claiming their fat and looking grim, 'cause they've been sitting, choosing a hat. Does anyone still wear a hat? Oh, I'll drink to that.
Finally, Bobby tries to face his fears, and in the song Being Alive, he expresses a desire for human connection, though he still doesn't seem quite ready.
Somebody hold me too close. Somebody hurt me too deep. Somebody sit in my chair and ruin my sleep and make me aware of being alive, being alive. Somebody need me too much. Somebody know me too well. Somebody pull me up short and put me through hell and give me support for being alive. Make me alive.
Join our free weekly Broadway appreciation classes at thebroadwaymaven.com. Follies has a complicated structure and complex plot. The show centers around a reunion of former showgirls at the crumbling Weissman Theater, which is about to be demolished. The central theme of the musical is the passage of time and the way that people change and grow over the years. Follies explores the relationships and regrets of the characters as they look back on their pasts and consider the choices they have made in their lives. It also touches on themes of love, loss, and the power of memory. It's a poignant and thought-provoking reflection on the human experience. Here's some music from the show.
Waiting around for the boys downstairs, stalling as long as we dare. Which dress from my wardrobe of two? One of them was borrowed and the other was blue. Holding our ground for the boys below, fussing around with our hair, giggling, wriggling out of our tights, chattering and clattering down all of those flights. God, I'd forgotten there ever were nights of waiting for the boys downstairs.
The road you didn't take hardly comes to mind, does it? The door you didn't try, where could it have led? The choice you didn't make never was defined, was it? Dreams you didn't dare are dead. Were they even there? Who said, I don't remember, I don't remember at all.
Could I leave you? No, the point is, could you leave me? Well, I guess you could leave me the house, leave me the flat, leave me the Brox and Chagall's and all that. You could leave me the stocks for sentiment's sake, and 90% of the money you make, and the rugs, and the cooks. Darling, you keep the drugs, Angel, you keep the books. Honey, I'll take the grand sugar, you keep the spit, and all of our friends. First you're another, so I am. Then someone's mother, then your camp. Then you career from career to career. I'm almost through my memoirs, but I'm here. comes up, I think about you. The coffee cup, I think about you. I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind.
The Broadway Maven's Weekly Blast comes out every Thursday. It contains essays, reviews, YouTube gems, surveys, and more. Sondheim's next musical, 1973's A Little Night Music, is written entirely in triple time, reflecting the show's love triangles and its idea that the summer night smiles 3 times. A Little Night Music celebrates romantic love. Much of the plot revolves around Frederick, a widower with an 18-year-old bride, Anne, who remains a virgin well into their first year of marriage. At the start of the show, he expresses Sondheim's trademark ambivalence. Should he force his wife into sex or take a nap?
Now, where the sweet imbecilities tumble so lavishly onto a lap.
Frederick, what a day it's been, unending drama. While Pat was brushing my hair at the door.
Now, there are 2 possibilities. A, I could ravish, B, I could nap.
Then grumpy old Mrs. Nordstrom next door. Her sister's coming for a visit.
Say that I shall unbeat with coming electricity.
You know, I do hope you're very curious enough for the servants. I try to be the pattern.
A, the deployment of charm, or B, the adoption of physical force.
At the same time, Frederick's son Henrik, a divinity student, sings of his frustration with being told later all the time, and Anne sings soon to her husband who waits for her sexually. The show turns to Desiree, Frederick's former lover, her daughter Frederica, the name's not a coincidence, and her mother Madame Armfeld. Frederica sings forgivingly about why her mother is absent in her life.
Ordinary mothers lead ordinary lives. Keep the house and sweep the parlor, mend the clothes and tend the children. Ordinary mothers like ordinary wives. Fry the eggs and dry the sheets and try to deal with facts. Mine acts.
There's a lot of overlapping infidelity in the show. At one point, Charlotte, the wife of Carl Magnus, who's sleeping with Desiree, sings to Anne, whose husband Frederick once had a liaison with Desiree, of the pain she feels.
He smiles sweetly, strokes my hair, says he misses me. I would murder him right there, but first I die. He talks softly of his wars and his horses and his whores. I think love's a dirty business. So do I.
The cast of characters goes to a weekend in the country.
A weekend in the country, no music, a delightful intro. A weekend in the country, where we're losing our control. A weekend in the country, of the shanty on the mandarin boat. A weekend in the country, with the panting and the arms.
Desiree hopes to rekindle her relationship with Frederick, who feels trapped in his marriage and does not entirely return her affection. Stung, she sings the most beloved song Sondheim ever composed.
Just when I stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my eyes, no one's there.
At the end, Frederick and Desiree reunite, along with daughter Frederica, to build a family. Join our free weekly Broadway appreciation classes at thebroadwaymaven.com. In 1979, Sondheim turned to horror for his subject with the sublime Sweeney Todd.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd. His skin was pale and his eye was odd. He shaved the faces of gentlemen who never thereafter were heard of again.
He trod a path that few have trod, did Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street.
Benjamin Barker is a barber from London who was wrongfully convicted and sent to a penal colony by the evil Judge Turpin, who lusted after his wife, presumed dead, and adopted his daughter. After being rescued by the young sailor Anthony, Sweeney returns to London and connects with his former landlady, unsuccessful baker Mrs. Lovett. Mrs. Lovett reveals that she saved his razors so he can begin to work again. We see his turn to wickedness as he massages them and sings affectionately of them. A rival barber is introduced by his young assistant.
Was dying of shame till a gentleman came, an illustrious barber, Pirelli by name. He gave me a liquid as precious as gold. I rubbed it in daily like what I was told, and behold, less than 30 days old. That's what did the trick, said true. Was it quick, said, did it in a tick, said, just like an elixir ought to do.
Pirelli tries to blackmail Todd, who instead murders him. Todd has an opportunity to murder Judge Turpin as well, but his chance is interrupted by Anthony declaring his love for Todd's daughter Joanna, now grown. Sweeney is driven mad by coming so close to accomplishing his revenge. In his central song, Epiphany, Todd declares vengeance, not just on Turpin, but on the entire world.
There's a hole in the world like a great black pit, and it's filled with people who are filled with shit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it. Not for long. They all deserve to die. Tell you why, Mrs. Lovett, tell you why. Because in all of the whole human race, Mrs. Lovett, there are two kinds of men and only two. There's the one staying put in his proper place and the one with his foot in the other one's face.
That number is followed by one of Sondheim's funniest, in which Todd and Mrs. Lovett realize the practical and financial appeal of serving the bodies of murdered customers in meat pies.
These are desperate times, Mrs. Lovett, and desperate measures are called for.
Well, here we are, hot from the oven.
What is that?
It's priest. Have a little priest.
Is it really good?
Sir, it's too good, at least. And they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh.
Fat.
Only where it's sat.
You got Poet or something like that.
Now you see the trouble with poetry, sadly, and now it's deceased. Stick to priest.
The cannibalistic strategy pays off, and Mrs. Lovett's pies are more popular than ever. However, much of the second act involves the deaths of the major characters, including Todd's discovery that his wife had not died, and in fact, not recognizing her, he has inadvertently killed her. The chorus returns.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd.
He served a dark and hungry
He
God.
served a dark and a hungry God.
To seek revenge may lead to hell.
But everyone does it though seldom as well.
As Sweeney
Todd, the demon Barber fleet. Streets.
Sondheim's next success came in 1984 with Sunday in the Park with George, the story of the painting of George Seurat's pointillist masterpiece, A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte. Sunday in the Park is an exploration of the art of making art, and thus it's probably Sondheim's most personal show. George's mistress Dot models for him, and the other characters George is painting appear and disappear and talk to each other and to George. Dot is uncomfortable and resentful, but eager to please.
Well, there are worse things than staring at the water on a Sunday. There are worse things than staring at the water as you're pulling for a picture me, painted by your lover in the middle of the summer on an island in the river on a Sunday.
The snooty and judgmental responses to George's work annoy him.
Mechanical,
Methodical.
it might be in some dreary socialistic periodical.
Good.
No life.
Dot ends up with a baker named Louis and later marries him, though pregnant with George's child. She likes Louis a lot, even if his art is, well, simpler.
Louis is really an artist. Louis' cakes are an art. Louis isn't the smartest. Louis popular. Everybody loves Louis. Louis bakes from the heart.
But George can't devote himself to anything beyond his painting. His creative work is central.
And when the woman that you wanted goes, you can say to yourself, I give all I can give. But the woman who won't wait for you knows that however you live, there's a part of you always standing by, mapping out the sky. Finishing a hat, starting on a hat. Finishing up. Who gave me a hat? Where there never was a hat.
Each act ends with one of Sondheim's most beloved songs, Sunday. The harmonies are evocative and moving, and among the favorites of Sondheim fans. In the second act, George's great-grandson is also an artist, a modern sculptor who works with color and light. He bemoans the need of artists to take care of the business end of creativity.
Art isn't easy. Even when you're hot, these inventions of your advancing art is easy. Yes, financing it is not.
They take a year.
A vision, just a vision, if it's only in your head.
The minute he finishes one, he starts raising money for the next.
If no one gets to see it, it's as good as dead. Bit by bit, putting it together.
Well, it's all you really have.
By piece, only way to make a work of art. Every woman makes a contribution. Every little detail plays a part. After the vision's no solution. Everything depends on execution. Putting it together. That's what counts.
George visits the island where his great-grandfather painted and encounters Dot in a vision. She offers important advice that he must make choices and not be stuck pondering them.
Stop worrying where you're going. Move on. If you can know where you're going, you've gone. Just keep moving on. I chose and my world was shaken. So what? The choice may have been mistaken. The choosing was not. You have to move on.
The last Sondheim show we'll look at is 1987's Into the Woods, a fairy tale mashup with a dark side.
Once upon a time!
We begin with wishes. Cinderella wants to go to the ball.
I wish.
Jack wants to keep his cow.
I wish.
And in a new tale, the baker and his wife want a child.
I wish.
We soon learn that the baker's wife suffers from a curse placed by the witch who lives next door.
And your father cried, and your mother died, when for extra measure I admit it was a pleasure. I said, sorry, I'm still not mollified, and I laid a little spell on them. You too, son, that your family tree would always be a barren one.
The witch demands ingredients for a potion that will make her young and beautiful.
Go to the wood and bring me back 1, the cow as white as milk. 2, the cake as red as blood. 3, the hair as yellow as corn. 4, the slipper as pure as gold. Bring me these before the chime of midnight. In 3 days' time, and you shall have, I guarantee, a child as perfect as child can be. Go to the wood!
The main characters, as well as another, Little Red, enter the woods in search of their wishes. Little Red is seduced and eaten by the wolf.
Little girl, what's your wish? You're missing all the flowers. The sun won't set for hours. Take your time.
Cinderella meets the prince at a ball, but is somewhat ambivalent about him.
He's a very nice prince. And it's a very nice ball. And when I entered, they trumpeted.
And the prince.
Oh, the prince?
Yes, the prince.
Well, he's tall.
Is that all? Did you dance? Is he charming? They say that he's charming.
We did nothing but dance.
Yes.
And it made a nice change.
No, the prince.
Oh, the prince.
Yes, the prince.
He has charm for a prince, I guess.
Yes.
I don't need a wide range.
Jack, with the beans he got from selling his cow to the baker, climbs a stalk and declares,
there are giants in the sky. There are big, tall, terrible giants in the sky. When you're way up high and you look below at the world you left and the things you know, little more than a glance is enough to show you just how small you are.
Meanwhile, the baker and his wife realize they must work together to find the 3 items.
You're not the man who started, and much more open-hearted than I knew you to be.
It takes 2. I thought 1 was enough, it's not true. It takes 2 of us, you came through. When the journey was rough, it took you. It took 2 of us.
Cinderella is stuck on the steps of the palace and leaves her shoe behind.
Avoid the collision. Even though they don't care if you're better off there, there's nothing to choose, so there's nothing to lose. So you'll cry on your shoes. They come out of the blue, and without any guide, you know what your decision is. Just not to decide. You'll just leave him a clue. For example, a shoe, and then see what he'll do. Now it's he and not you who is stuck with a shoe in a stew, in the goo. And you've learned something too, something you never knew, on the steps of the palace.
At the end of the first act, the main characters have gotten their wishes, and they think they are happy ever after. By the start of the second act, their dissatisfaction with their lives appears again. Suddenly, an earthquake-like disaster occurs in the woods, and the characters struggle to understand what's happened.
Do you think it was a bear?
A bear? Bears are sweet! Besides, you ever see a bear with 40-foot feet? A dragon? No scorch marks. Usually they're licked.
Manticore!
Imaginary!
Griffin!
Sting!
A giant!
Possible. Very, very possible.
It turns out that the giant's wife has descended to seek revenge on Jack. Soon, many of the major characters have died, and the survivors band together to form a new kind of family.
Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Others may deceive you. You decide what's good. You decide alone. But no one is alone.
Of course, Sondheim has other good shows too, but these 9 will be discussed in a 3-hour Sondheim boot camp, taught online at an introductory level on Sunday, January 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Sign up at thebroadwaymaven.com. Which Sondheim show are you now most interested in seeing or seeing again? Explain your answers in the comments. And here's a link to my Stephen Sondheim playlist.